going to Denver to take on the hottest team in the NFL, the Broncos. Never thought I would be saying that a few months ago, but here we are, a 5-5 Broncos team getting ready to host a 7-3 Browns team. So we're going to run through my keys to victory, and we're going to get everyone familiar with the Broncos and with the Browns and how they match up and how they stack up against one another. But let's kind of set a bit of a primer, as I like to do for these previews, by looking at Denver's defense against Cleveland's offense this year. The Browns' offense averaging 22.7 points per game, whereas Denver's defense giving up more than that at 26.8. Now, of course, when you give up 70 points and over 700 yards to the Dolphins, that's going to be an outlier. And the Broncos have been working hard to bring those numbers down, but ultimately a 70 prime rib burger is going to drag things up a little bit. Turnovers, unfortunately, the Browns continue to struggle to protect the football, whereas Denver's defense has been a takeaway machine amid their 4-game winning streak. Now, here's how the Broncos offense goes up against Cleveland's defense. Broncos offense scoring over 21 points a game. Cleveland's defense giving up, it's not even Cleveland's defense, it's just the team giving up 17.5 points per game when you factor in two, scoop and score, or pick six and a scoop and score against the Steelers. Total yards, Browns defense giving up a league-leading low 243, whereas the Broncos offense averaging just over 300 yards. Third down percentage, the Browns are number one, a quarter of the time giving up a third down or giving up a first down on third down, whereas Denver is sort of middle of the pack at 38.2. Red zone, that is the only Achilles-ish heel for Cleveland. They have not had an outstanding red zone defense, giving up touchdowns over 60% of the time, whereas Denver is only scoring them 50% of the time. So let's talk a little bit more about Denver's defense, because I know that everyone sort of licks their chops when they get to go up against the Broncos, because we all saw what the Dolphins did and what a lot of teams did to the Broncos early in the year. I am here to say this is a different Broncos defense. Look at the points allowed in the first 5 weeks, 36.2. Look at the points allowed in the next 5 weeks, 17.4. This is more than a 50% decrease. Yards allowed, down by 100. First downs, dramatically down. Takeaways, dramatically up. And the record completely flipped. Everyone in Berea, I hope, knows this, but this Broncos defense is not the defense anymore that gave up 70 points to the Dolphins. Do not be fooled. This is your warning. I'm telling you guys right now, Denver's defense is not what it was at the start of the year. They have dramatically improved. They have changed personnel. They have changed starters. They have moved on from guys and brought different people in. They have changed things up. I understand going into this game, everyone's going to be thinking, Denver's not that good. We all saw that at the beginning of the year. Stop. It's a different team. Trust me. So, predict the score. Browns versus Broncos. Before I give you my keys to victory, let me know what your score predictions are down below in the comment section. I'm going to give you my score prediction at the end of the video. My first key to victory, protect the football. I promised myself that I would never give cliche keys to victory, but until Cleveland really take get Michael Scott in here, take heed of my message, no, they're going to have to hear it, especially going up against the takeaway machine that is the Denver Broncos. Denver has forced 12 turnovers in the last 3 weeks. Now, the only good-ish news for Cleveland is that despite having 12 turnovers or 12 takeaways in 3 games, it has only amounted to 25 points. They're not even getting a field goal on average from each takeaway. So the Broncos offense is not capitalizing on these great opportunities from Denver, and it's kind of up to the Broncos defense to take these turnovers and score it themselves, because they are getting takeaway after takeaway after takeaway, and Denver's getting maybe a field goal, but more often than not, a punt after these takeaways. So the good news is for the Browns, this is a Denver defense that takes the ball away and does nothing with it majority of the time. Denver's offense, like I said, has not capitalized enough off of these turnovers, but when you win 2 straight games by a combined 3 points, even just 1 field goal from those takeaways, even if you only score on 1 of the 5 of them, that has been the difference maker in the Bills game and the Vikings game. So protect the football. And before we get to the rest of my keys to victory, let me tell you guys about our awesome sponsor today, Odds Are. Game day just got a major upgrade, Browns fans. With Odds Are, I'm not just throwing my bets into the wind. Odds Are doesn't take bets, but they sure help you make smarter ones. Dive into this world of smart betting. NFL Daily listeners and Browns Report listeners get 30 days free. It's like having a sports betting advisor right in your pocket. Dive in, explore, and let's make game day even more thrilling. So go ahead and get the Odds Are app and your 30-day free trial at oddsr.com/NFL Daily. I've included that link in the comments and description of today's video. 30-day free trial waiting for you at oddsr.com/NFL Daily. Second key to victory for the Brownies, just some vertical shots. I know I just said protect the football, which usually means like don't turn it over with some deep balls and whatnot, but I need more than what we saw last week. Look at Dorian Thompson-Robinson's passing chart from the win against Pittsburgh. There is not a single pass beyond 15 yards. Like, I'm not saying completion. I just mean attempt. The furthest attempt was 15 yards from the line of scrimmage. So like we just talked about earlier, Denver's defense has dramatically improved. Pittsburgh's defense took note of this and made a lot of adjustments in the second half, making it very difficult for the Browns to run the football. So do not go into a second straight game with plenty of tape and film out there that the Browns offense does not want to push the ball down the field, right? The Cleveland defense was able to win this past game because they were going up against a shitty quarterback in Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada. Fortunately, this entire season is not going up against Pickett's and Canadas, okay? You cannot become predictable offensively. So Denver right now is game planning for a Browns offense that has no vertical game to them, and they are going to bring everyone close to the line of scrimmage. And for a ground game that's kind of, streaky at times, that is the last thing you want to see. Justin Simmons and the rest of these DBs and linebackers inching closer and closer because they don't believe you can take the top off the defense. Now, if there is one little bit of good-ish news for the Browns, they are catching the Broncos at a little bit of a vulnerable time. Kareem Jackson, their starting safety, was suspended yet again, this time for 4 games. And their backup is injured, and then that backup's backup is injured. So if Delaire and Turner Yell, a 5th-round pick for them, ends up getting the start, that's good news for Dorian Thompson-Robinson because he is the worst starting safety in the NFL. He is ranked dead last, 88th out of 88 qualifying players, an overall PFF grade of 41.1. So if there is a Delaire and Turner Yell sighting on the field, that is the man to attack. That is the guy to send Amari Cooper deep on, to send Elijah Moore deep on. That is the guy to pick on. So hopefully we can see some more vertical shots from the Browns in this game. Third key to victory, Elijah Moore steps up. Why Elijah Moore, right? Why not Amari Cooper? I'll tell you why. Amari Cooper is unfortunately going to be in for a long day. He is going up against, in my opinion, the best cornerback in the NFL in Patrick Surtain. Now, his coverage stats this year, like every single Broncos defensive stat, is slightly inflated because of that blowout game against Miami. But even with that 70-point loss, he is still only giving up 40 yards a game, 2 touchdowns, one of which came in that game, 1 interception, 9 pass breakups. Pat Surtain, in my eyes, is the single best corner in the NFL. I would take him over Sauce Gardner. I would take him over anything. When we look at the Browns receiving room, Amari Cooper is definitely going to be shadowed by Pat Surtain. He's going to be going up against him a ton. And so that leaves Elijah Moore, David Njoku, Cedric Tillman to step up. The good news is Elijah Moore will likely be going up against a Broncos corner in Fabian Moreau, who is not all that good. Like, he is definitely beatable. David Njoku is going to be going up against a pair of linebackers in Alex Singleton and Josie Jewell, who are not the best in coverage. So if Amari Cooper is going to be bracketed off in this game with Pat Surtain, the rest of the receiving crew has to step up. Fourth key to victory, special teams spark. It's a third of the game. And when your offense is down to their backup quarterback and the defense is on the road gasping for air at a mile-high elevation, well, you're going to have to lean on special teams a little bit extra, which unfortunately Dustin Hopkins' name has already been called time after time after time. But what's one more time, right? The guy leads the league in field goal makes, field goal attempts. He is kicking them at a percentage just shy of 90. He has a career long of 58 this season. Last week, we saw the defense cover the Browns' offense's tail. This week, I think a special team score, a block of sorts, or a perfection from Dustin Hopkins, 3 for 3, 4 for 4, 5 for 5, might be necessary to gut out a win, right? It's hard to put your finger on special teams, but you know it when you see it, right? And you know great special teams when you see great special teams. So that means James Prochet doing everything he can to get the Browns offense in the best spot possible to succeed on punt return. That means kick return game. When they take the ball out of the end zone, getting them past the 25-yard line. And that means perfection from Hopkins. Some sort of block, some sort of return. I don't really know exactly, but we need something from special teams. Fifth and final key to victory for the Browns, an improved ground game. Remember when I said some vertical shots because of the predictability from the Browns offense? Yeah, that is my biggest fear for Cleveland going into this game. That Denver knows what the Browns want to do, and that is run the football, and they come well prepared to stop the run. And the Browns offense doesn't go from one-dimensional to no, it goes to zero-dimensional. Now, in Week 11 against the Steelers, Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt, they did not fare all that well to get the ground going, right? Jerome Ford had one touchdown, but he averaged less than 3 yards a pop. Kareem Hunt had a long as 16. If you remove that 16-yard run, talking 11 carries for 20 yards. Not very good. Now, you're probably asking, all right, so the running back stink. Like, what's the issue here? Why are the Browns not having success running the football? I want to show you guys two plays. Let's look at this first play from the first half against the Steelers. There are times when the running backs are not seeing holes or having great vision all that well. And then there's plays like this, right? Where unfortunately, James Hudson, filling in for DeJuan Jones for most of the game against the Steelers, finds himself beat by a good Pittsburgh defensive line. And if you're Kareem Hunt right now, where are you going? You got a free linebacker who's staring at you right now, and you got a defensive lineman who's beat his block and is in the backfield as Kareem Hunt gets the handoff. Like, this is just doomed from the start. This one just comes down to a little bit better of execution. All right, let's look at the next play now, okay? Fast forward a little bit. It's another handoff to Kareem Hunt. And count out the Browns jerseys there. We have Batonio, Teller pulling, and Posick the center, all teaming up on one defender. Again, Kareem Hunt has a good-looking hole here, but there are two Steelers players just waiting to get in on the action and take down 27. So a little bit better coordination on the blocking side of things. But also, when this Pittsburgh Steelers defense knew the ground game was going to be the focal point of the Browns offense with DTR, and in the first half, the Browns sort of tipped their hand that they are not going to go in the air much beyond 10 or so yards, it made it incredibly difficult for the Browns to run the ball. Add in the fact that there's no Nick Chubb, no human eraser, and that Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt are not two speedy backs with extreme burst or quickness or anything like that. Defenses are crowding the box. And the Browns' offensive line might be able to block a couple of guys, but they can't get to everyone. And so when defenses get towards the line of scrimmage and running backs don't have that burst to get a little bit of separation, you're going to get a lot of 1, 2, maybe 3-yard gains. So one last time, predict the score for me before I give you my score prediction. Browns versus Broncos. Let me know down below in the comment section. Drum roll, please. Brrr. I got Cleveland. I got the Browns defense. I got a special team score. I got the Browns winning 17-14. I know Denver's riding a 4-game winning streak. This defense has been very impressive for the Broncos, but I don't believe the offense has been as good as it looks on paper. And Myles Garrett and this defense should be able to slow them down enough to get a few scores from this offense and special teams to get them out to at least a lead and hopefully hold on to that lead.